Were you excited to form part of such an extraordinary true story and also an international cast?
Yeah, yeah. It was I think everything starts with the Rio event that over 1 billion people followed this story all over the world, and I was just one of them. So I got involved with the story since then, and I heard it was going to be a film, and I'm like, wow, that's not very surprising because it's such a powerful story and so cinematic. And let's see what's the approach, how they're going to do this. I met with Mike Medavoy, the producer, met with Patricia, and they said we're going to interview the miners, the rescuers, their families, and we're going to do a film about those people. We're going to do a very personal and human story. And I'm like, all right, great, let's read it. And I read it and I thought, wow, all right, that makes sense. They, at first, they thought of myself playing one of the miners, the very first draft, and then everything changed, like always. And finally, they offered me the part of the Minister of Mining, which I thought was interesting because it's, first of all, I never had played a politician before, but I kind of saw in this opportunity a politician that actually becomes, throughout his journey, a real politician, because he really learns, you know, he really starts to feel what people feel, and the solution comes out of that relationship, out of that connection with their needs.
It's interesting, following up on what you were saying, because one may think, well, you got the easier end of the straw by not being down in the mine and being a politician,
No.
but actually, your character, everyone is pressuring him.
Oh
right?
yeah, he's in the middle of a hurricane. He's in the middle. It's from one side you have the world press, you have the families, their desperation, just their pain, which is the most powerful thing for me. You have the engineers, the rescuers, you have the government, and you have the miners. And this guy's in the middle of it, trying to manage and to deal with all those aspects. And it's just so much pressure from every single angle. But I think throughout the wise choice for me was that throughout the relationship with Juliette Binoche's character, Maria, which is sort of like a leader of the Camp Hope that represents the families outside of the mine, he starts to feel what they're feeling, because it's impossible not to, because they connect in a very human level. It is really about their families. It's not a miner. It's it's a brother. It's a father. It's their family. So this guy starts to just simply connect to it, and everything changed for him, because he arrived to solve a problem in a very rational way, and to have a very successful outcome. And it becomes a completely different story, and the values are changed, and now he's facing a very emotional turmoil, and has to deal with that.
Speaking of that relationship with Juliette Binoche's character, it doesn't start off the best, does it? I mean, the first thing she
Nope.
does is slap you.
No.
How was it to shoot that and the rest of the powerful scenes that you have with her as we see that relation develop?
Yeah, it's that slap is a very symbolic moment. It's sort of like a wake-up call for him, and it does change him, and it's sort of a very important moment. It's a turning point, I would say, and it does not start well, and as it shouldn't, but it does. It goes to a very interesting place, which is not obvious. It's really about, humanizing. It's really about this guy understanding and connecting to their feelings, to their needs, to life, to people. I believe this film is really about the value of life. Ultimately, it is, what is the value of a life? You can measure that. You cannot. It's just, it's not something that you can. There's no arguments. There's no explanation. It's just, and the power and the triumph of the power of unity and the triumph of a human spirit when people really get together and they really have something to do that everybody wants and they want to accomplish that and they gather to do something with all their energy and drive, and that's very powerful.
And it's also, especially even more as it's a true story. And to make it even more truthful, you all went down there. You went to Chile. You shot in mines in Colombia. How did that feel for you to actually be there, meet these people, talk to them, be in those locations?
I think it's a big responsibility when you're doing a true story, for obvious reasons, of course. But it's also very inspiring because I had a chance to meet with the character that I played. I also met with all the 33 miners, the Rio miners, their families, and it was so emotional. It was so beautiful. We spent a whole afternoon, kind of having conversations and exchanging, experiences and thoughts, and it was so beautiful because I could look into their eyes and just kind of meet them for who they are and talk about those things, and it's just such a miracle that they were there and living their lives, and it feeds you very much. So it was very helpful because, I kind of carried them with me that was the very beginning of the process in Santiago de Chile when we arrived there, before we went to the Atacama Desert where we shot the film. So I remember being there in the desert, which is a very challenging environment to shoot, but also just extraordinary. The landscape, the silence, the atmosphere, it's just undescribable. It is really, I remember sitting there and just looking at the landscape and listening to, that eloquent silence that will makes you dive so deeply, inside, and you start to think, and I remember, all those guys, and I remember everything that we went through preparing to do this film, and I remember the true story when I followed. So there's all this combination of feelings and ideas and thoughts and emotions that all together were very helpful when we were doing this.
And in the end, it's been a Latin woman, Patricia Regan.
Yeah.
who's
A
been-
woman, which
yes.
I think is a
I
great,
think so
wise
too.
choice.
And Latin also.
Yeah.
What can you say about her?
Patricia's great. I mean, she's. I think she has it all because she has the sensibility, but she's also a very strong woman. She directed 33 men inside a mine. So you need to be brave and you need to be strong to do that. But she also has she's very precise, particular about things. And she was very involved, which I think is a big part of it when you're doing something. Very passionate, very involved with it, caring about actors, about, those little moments that sometimes we rushed because, we were shooting and then you get accomplished something, but she would pay attention to detail, which I think it's very important.